Hey guys, it's Trey Lyle here with Bringing the Heat. Once again, having to do one of these intros before we actually get to the recording of the podcast because guess what? Lawsuit news broke right after, I should say, we recorded. This is coming out on Thursday afternoon. We recorded on Wednesday afternoon. Caleb and I discussed this. We sort of talked about part of the lawsuit in terms of how the other charter teams could get more money depending on the result of the law or of the preliminary injunction. It's about 1.5 million. But yesterday, the judge stated that NASCAR, by setting aside the six charters, which happened last Friday, something we didn't mention actually during the podcast, they're going to say they set aside six charters pending the outcome of the case. So the six charters for 2311 and FRM, they're setting those aside. And because of that, the judge denied the preliminary injunction, saying essentially that will not cause irreparable harm since we are now solely into the season, that no changes could happen. And so the court case will carry on. Judge was very adamant about basically saying this could cause big changes for NASCAR in the long term. Judge has kind of broad strokes and everything that goes along with it, but also didn't rule about if the judge uh, success in this case for either side as well. So a lot going on here with this court case. Stay tuned to frontstretch.com for more information. Essentially, um, the judge made it clear that the quo is being maintained, and that she's okay with it. So, but again, this could completely change NASCAR. She wanted to remind them, or the judge wanted to remind them, I should say. And so just stay tuned to frontstretch.com for more information about this, as we will do our best to keep you informed on the latest happenings. Now, on to a very fun episode of Bringing the Heat.
It's time for Bringing the Heat with Trey Lyle.
Welcome on into Bringing the Heat with Trey Lyle for the week of September the 3rd. We're recording that on this Wednesday. Welcome on in to Bringing the Heat. Fun episode in store for you. Our guest this week is Presley Sorah from the ARCA Menard Series, the 21-year-old up-and-coming driver. A pretty interesting story. He was on Happy Hour actually a few weeks ago, but we were able to connect with him again because he recently announced that he has a full-color hardcover children's book that's coming out for Christmas about his dream of racing, inspiring kids. And it's a cool story how that book came together and how this great aspects of it came together in terms of building the book. So we'll talk about that and much more now with Presley Sorah as he heads into the Inferno.
Now it's time for.
All right, we're here with the Season 5 Monday Night Racing Champion, Presley Sorah.
To go into the Inferno with Trey.
Bringing in Presley Sorah into the Inferno. Presley, thanks so much for doing this. We appreciate your time. First, I want to apologize that you had to do Happy Hour. I mean, you had to spend time with Brian Nolan, Michael Massey, Dalton Hopkins. You had to spend with the Happy Hour guys. I want to formally from our website apologize to you that they put you up to that. Like I'm so sorry.
Oh, I know. It was brutal. It really was.
Have you? So I always ask people who iRace, and I try. Have you iRaced with Michael Massey?
I have, yeah, quite a bit actually. Yeah, in the Monday
Okay,
Night Racing series.
Okay, that's what I figured. Has he wrecked you?
Oh my gosh, probably at some point over
okay.
like 2 or 3 years of racing with him. I had to be at least one race. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a growing theme. Basically every person. So every time I meet someone who did Monday Night Racing with Michael Massey, my first question is, have you been wrecked by Michael Massey? And so far, I'm at 100% success rate with the yes. So, Michael Massey, if you see him on your iRacing, just stay away from him. He might be, I was going to make a joke that he's the Carson Hocevar of iRacing, but that's, we'll save that for another time. But Presley, how are you doing? How's your season so far? Obviously, racing the ARCA Menard series and doing some regional stuff. How would you assess your season so far?
It's been good. I haven't done a whole lot, but I feel like it's been very, very productive behind the scenes. And I think probably the last 365 days have been the most productive I've ever had. So yeah, I think I'm setting myself up for a really great 2026 and beyond. Hopefully get a few more starts on the board, and it'd be great to go full time in one of the ARCA series seasons. But yeah, just got to keep plugging away at it. Obviously, I'm first generation, so I'm kind of paving my own way with this, but baby steps. That's what I keep telling people. I mean, I can't just dive into this right at the get go and expect huge things. So, just take it one step at a time and keep plugging away and see what we can accomplish as a small team.
Obviously, coming from the ground up, you literally are doing everything imaginable. And what is it like to develop kind of like the deals, the relationships, the sponsorship as you continue to grow within your racing career?
Oh, it's fun. I mean, I've already met a ton of great people just through, different partnerships and stuff that I've had on my race cars. And I love marketing people. So I love representing them on track. I love representing them on social media. So any opportunity I get to do that, I'm happy. So I feel like I put a lot of work into my social media pages, whether it's X or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, whatever it is, I put a lot of work into it. So, the way I see it is you're spending money to be on my race car, which is allowing me to be at the racetrack, driving the race car in the first place. So the least I can do is make it, the most worth your while. So, obviously, you help me, I help you. And, my goal is to make it as beneficial for my partners as I possibly can and get them as much return on interest as possible. So, I strive to perfect that stuff and put as many eyes on them as possible and just make it a productive deal for everyone.
And you're the one making the deals, right? Like it's like they
Mhm.
come to you and you negotiate and everything. Like it's just like a direct to source.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a one man show. Every now and then, my dad will contact somebody, but I mean, for the most part, 99.9% of the time, it's all me. So I sit and I make my own phone calls, send my own emails. I don't have a PR manager or anything like that. Like if I'm talking to you through Twitter or Instagram or email or whatever, it's me. It's not somebody else behind the screen pretending to be me. It's actually me. So I do all my own stuff, and I really I I almost prefer it that way. I mean, obviously, it'd be nice to have some help, but I like doing the stuff myself. Like my website, I built myself from the ground up. I feel like it's more rewarding if I do it rather than have someone else do it. So, yeah, I enjoy it.
Speaking of that, part of it is your Twitter, is hashtag sim to reality. Is sort of the phrase you go by. Is what does that mean to you? Like obviously you started in iRacing, you've developed skills in iRacing. We joked about the Monday Night Racing scene with Michael Massey where you got wrecked a lot. I just want to keep mentioning that so Michael Massey can hear that. And if you're watching on the YouTube version of this, you can see on your we're at your sim rig. But ultimately, the sim getting into sim racing leading to actual racing, you're not the first person to do this. Obviously, most notably William Byron did it. But ultimately, how do you think your sim racing skill set has led to this skill set, in an actual race car?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like primarily just it helped me get my name out there. Like before, I mean, I will say like without iRacing and without sim racing in general, there is absolutely no way that I'm doing anything I'm doing now. I mean, at all. It completely paved the way for me. I mean, we didn't really have a good next step after I did go-kart racing when I was little. Obviously, like the next jump up from that's cars, really, and it just gets more and more expensive as you go. So we turned to sim racing, and that was the most affordable thing that we could find. And I mean, I ran a couple years on the sim where no one really knew who I was. I mean, people still probably don't know who I am on there, but I didn't do too many notable things. And then I feel like into 2021 and 2022, I really got my name out there quite a bit and won some championships. And without that boost in social media promotion and just name recognition, I would not be able to do anything I'm currently doing. So yeah, sim racing's incredible. I feel fortunate. I feel like I'm really part of the first kind of wave that's gone through. Obviously, there's a few drivers like William Byron that was ahead of my time, but I feel like me and Raja Karuth and some of those drivers. Donovan Strauss does Cars Tour right now, and he's a heck of a wheelman. So Vicente Salas just ran at Portland this past weekend in Xfinity. So I feel like we're kind of the first wave that's going through here and making some steps in real life. And a lot of those guys are even further along than I currently am. So shout out to them. But yeah, I feel fortunate to be a part of that group. And I can't even imagine, 10, 15 years from now, what we're going to be looking at, because it's just going to keep going and the sims are going to keep getting more and more realistic. So it's going to keep being more and more beneficial from the driver's seat and also obviously in the eyes of the series and public too.
Obviously, you mentioned it. You've been started racing since you're 10, but something cool that you're doing, and you announced it recently, is you wrote a children's book, Racing Towards a Dream. Why did you decide to write this children's book? I feel like this is something that, I think, like, the only person I can think of that wrote a children's book off the top of my head in NASCAR is Dale Jr., and I think he did a couple, but like, what ultimately got you to that decision that you wanted to do this, this venture?
Yeah, so a lot of people may not know this about me, but outside of the racing job, which is what I do on the weekends, I'm actually a paraprofessional educator at my local elementary school. So the same elementary school I went through, and then obviously in the high school, the same school system. So I'm a paraprofessional there. So I work the latchkey in the mornings. I'm head of that, and then I also work in the preschool. So I work down there with 3 and 4 year olds. It's crazy. They're experiencing life around peers their age for the first time ever. And really, so I started doing it 2 years ago. This is my third year in it now. So I've really realized how passionate I am for it and how much I care about obviously the use of education. So I try to figure out ideas to try to incorporate motorsports and my teaching as well. So you know, I realized about a year and a half ago that kids, they're not necessarily going to care quite as much about like an autographed hero card or something like that as much as maybe like a teenager or adult would. So I thought of ideas to try to incorporate the younger kids a little bit more with that. So in the last couple of years, I've done coloring sheets of all of my race cars and tried to tie that in, because obviously, when a kid walks up to a race car in an autograph session and sees the race car driver there and gets to actually color the car themselves, it's, a lot more special. At least, I've seen their eyes light up from it. So that's been cool, and that was kind of the first step where I was like, man, there's some really cool opportunities here to tie this in with the youth. So let's capitalize on it. And then had the idea with the book. We have a publishing company here in Cambridge City, Indiana, my hometown, Kids at Heart Publishing, and Shelly Davis. She reached out to me, and she's been wanting me to write a book for a long time, and I've always wanted to write a book. I definitely didn't expect it to be this, young of age for me. I'm 21, turning 22 next week. I figured it'd be a lot further down the line, but the opportunity kind of arose, and I realized, there's a really cool possibility with this. So, plugged away at it, and this is actually the first time I'm actually telling the public this, but I finished the book at 3 a.m. on Route 66. Obviously famous with cars and all that. So finished it on Route 66 in Oklahoma at 3 a.m. on the way to Phoenix earlier this year. So the book's been done for 5 or 6 months now. And we've just kind of been putting the pieces together with it. It's like a big broken puzzle right now, and we've just been putting everything together. So it's finally almost ready. We had is actually one of my friends had the great idea to, instead of having an actual illustrator do the pages in the book, why not have the kids do it? So I work at our local community center as well, like throughout the summer. So they have a program called Super Summer Fun, and it's basically just a summer camp in between school years. So I work with those kids. We usually have 25 to 40 kids in there, and I initiated a program with them to where they could color or draw their own original pictures for the book itself. So rather than having an artist do the illustrations, all 28 pages of the book are illustrated by actually pre-K through 6th grade. So even got some preschoolers in there, which is really cool. But yeah, it should be really cool once it's done and I can reveal it. So it's neat for the kids to be able to have involvement with it. Obviously, they were excited about it. They didn't really know until the day of when I told them, "Hey, guess what? You guys get to illustrate this book," and their eyes lit up real wide. So I think they're going to really be excited to see their drawing in it once it's finished. It'll be a really nice full color hardcover book. So yeah, I can't wait. And then it leads to even more possibilities in the future. So I'm really excited to see the finished product.
Yeah, you mentioned it again. The book titled "Racing Towards a Dream." It's a really cool cover by Jesse Moody. I do want to shout him out for you there. Who did a really great cover on the book. There's a link on Presley's, I guess, all your social media at Presley Sorah to buy it. Correct, like to pre-order it,
Yeah.
and you said it would be in time for Christmas.
Yeah, it should be either late October or early November, but definitely in time for Christmas.
There you go. And look, if you're a racing fan, put this on your list. Obviously you have donations that have helped you out. Like ultimately, this seems to be a draw towards your community, like an ode to your community and part of it. Why is that? Why was that so important to you in terms of, honoring your hometown where you still live, you're still an active part of the community, yet, you're traveling all across the country to go racing?
Yeah, I mean, I work in our elementary school and then at the community center, so I feel like I have quite a big involvement in our community, and obviously from all different backgrounds, whether it's people I went to school with or people I work with at the school or the community center, just people in the town. Everyone has supported my racing career like tenfold. So I feel like it was a great opportunity to kind of give back to them. And with that, I'm donating a copy to all of the pre-K classrooms, kindergarten, first, and second grade. So there's 3 classrooms per grade, and I'll be donating a copy to each of those rooms. That way, all the kids can read it in school. And then I'll be donating a copy to the local Cambridge City Public Library too. So I just feel like it's a great way to not only involve the local community, but also give back to them as well. So it's gonna be really cool. It'll be really surreal to see my book on shelves around here. I feel like that's what I'm not really ready for, and I can't even really envision it. I feel like it's one of those things I'm just gonna have to see it to really believe that it's true. But yeah, it's super exciting for us, super exciting for the kids that got to take part in it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
As someone who is currently dating a second grade teacher, I would assume they appreciate the donated books. As someone who had to recently move SED's library into her new classroom, she with all the books she had, I think they appreciate the books. Presley, anything else you want to plug before you get on out of here? I know you're working on a lot. Maybe when's your next race? And thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, well, I can't share exactly when my next race is quite
That's
yet.
fun.
It'll be in the next couple weeks is when I'll announce it. But I will say, and this is the first time I really said it publicly, I am racing again in 2025. So before the end of the season in the ARCA Menards series, I will be making another start. And just stay tuned to my socials at Presley Sorah on everything. I'm excited to share the news there pretty soon.
Thanks so much, Presley, and thanks so much for joining us in the Inferno.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much to Presley. Make sure you follow him at Presley Sorah. You can click his link for the book there as well. So make sure you check that out. But let's get up to the latest news with what's still hot.
What's still hot? It's time to upgrade you on the latest news in NASCAR.
With me now is good old Caleb Barnes at Caleb Barnes _ helps me produce Bring the Heat, but he's joining me to help me co-host Bring the Heat this week. Caleb, good to have you with me. Let's dive right into the latest news. So more lawsuit stuff, sort of. Well, this report came out from from the Charlotte Observer, which Steve Phelps directly addressed the 13 Cup Series teams, stating that if the open cars, aka the 2311 and FRM cars, remain open teams, the charter teams would get more money. So roughly a $1.5 million. Obviously, a lot of this is coming out now. We're still waiting word on when the judgment could come down. It should come down any day now, any moment. And like last week, it could come in and I have to record another cold open for this podcast. But ultimately, Caleb, where do you what do you think about this? Is this just kind of doy when it come to think of it, because it just kind of makes sense? You have less teams, meaning less division of the pot.
You know, Trey, I was thinking about this the other day, and so much of the stuff with whether it's the injunction or talking about this all really just relates to kind of this 2025 season, right? Because this trial is on December 1st. It's after the fact of this season. I know NASCAR is hoping to get this stuff in place. They've stated that they want to get things set up for 2026 for teams that are looking to acquire charters, but we'll see how that goes and how the injunction might or might not affect that. And that's what, like, Steve Phelps saying this, like, my question is, like, what about going into next year? If they do, whether they create more charters, because they've said that they're not going to sell these, I believe they said they're not going to sell these 6 charters unless until the end of the year. But like, they've stated that their NASCAR, they have the power to create 4 more charters and to bring that number back up to 34. And there's all these sorts of things that are kind of hanging in limbo. And I mean, you got to imagine that that's just for the rest of the season, unless going into next year, they're magically able to find all this money to then give the charter teams that $1.5 million back. And so all this stuff, we are so late into the 2025 season now that, in all honesty, I don't know which way that this injunction will go. And I am very curious to see what the ruling is from Judge Bell, because he's already ruled one way that was already overturned. And I'm sure these teams don't want to spend any more time on this in appeal circuit court at the appeal again. But at the same time, I'm like, man, at this point, we've just got 9 weeks of racing left in the season. Like, I don't know how much, I don't know financial sides of these things, but I don't know how much it really matters for the teams with perspective of, like, I mean, if we go to the trial and if the teams win, and they're trying to prove that NASCAR is a monopoly, that this is an antitrust lawsuit. And so ultimately, if the teams win, it's going to shake up a ton of different things and kind of really, I don't even know what the charter stuff would look like. It's going to shake so many things up. But then if NASCAR wins, the teams pretty much, I mean, they're out of luck. They're not going to have the charters. They're just going to have to, I guess, who knows what will happen with them, if they'll permanently become open teams or what will happen. But ultimately, I feel like there's been a lot of attention paid to this preliminary injunction in the past few weeks with some of these big filings and the big showdown in the courtroom last week. But as I was thinking about it, like, really, this preliminary injunction is just determining how much of the pay that the teams get for this 2025 season, whereas the lawsuit, whether or not the teams lose this injunction, I don't think that really affects necessarily where they're at in their case on the monopoly side of things. Like, it might seem like a win for NASCAR if it comes out and the teams are denied again. But at the same time, I think the teams have been able to show plenty of other things through this process of trying to get the preliminary injunction. And who knows, maybe that's the end game of it. Maybe they're trying to get NASCAR to say a few more things, and then now they're like, oh, see, Judge, this is why NASCAR is a monopoly. I don't know the end game. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not that smart. But just remember, no matter what side you're on, whether the teams or NASCAR wins this injunction side of things, that it really isn't all said and done until that trial on December 1st and until that final decision is made all the way in December. So just hold your horses as much as you can for another few months.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're just getting started. Anyway, other news and notes. Mike Ford from NASCAR on the Hauler Talk podcast mentioned starting maybe next season altering the eligibility standards for the fastest driver point, mentioning how there's a discussion. I'm going to use the keyword discussion here for the ability to make the fastest lap point only a driver who's on the lead lap. So we're like, how F1, I think you still have to finish in the top 10 to get the fastest lap, actually get the fastest lap point, even though if you're outside the top 10, you don't get the point, but no one else gets the point. So obviously, this is a result of Kyle Larson's done this a couple of times. Josh Berry did this past weekend where he wrecks out early, but gets the fastest lap point by getting the car repaired. Right call, wrong call. What do you think?
I really don't care one way or the other. I think it's kind of cool. Like you have a guy that's crashed out, and then you get to the point where mathematically in the race they can't pass any more cars. And so, I mean, that's really the only reason that a lot of these teams would even try to make repairs is to get out and then hope that other cars crash out and they could gain scratch away for 1 or 2 more points. And I mean, I thought it was kind of cool that cars that were mathematically stuck in a spot could go out and compete for 1 more point. And I mean, it's not a guarantee that you get it, but I do understand there's a little bit of wiggle room with like starting to cut parts and pieces off. I don't know they've teched some of those cars, and I believe they've passed inspection, but I know you get a little bit more leeway with like, oh, well, you see, well, that part was damaged, and there's some technicalities with that. But I mean, I liken the fastest lap rule to what we had a couple years ago under some of the old formats with like whoever led the most laps got a point, like a bonus point in those championship formats. And like in those races, you could lead all but 1 lap and then crash out, but then you would still get that bonus point for leading the most laps. Like you didn't get disqualified for it. So I guess I'd want to see it stick around. I can see the argument. I know Steve Letarte was very much against it whenever Kyle Larson did it in Mexico. Trey, do you like it? Do you wish it would be limited to lead lap cars? Or are you just indifferent, kind of like me?
Maybe something cool is you keep it like the car can get the fastest lap. So like if Josh Berry gets the fastest lap, he does it, but he doesn't get the point, like, but no one else does, similar to what they do in F1. Maybe that's cool because theoretically speaking, like, let's say Josh Berry's 1 point, like he'll finish if he didn't earn any points, he'd finish 1 point above X driver in the playoff cut line, and then theoretically, and he has let's say that driver has the fastest lap. Well, then you can try to repair the car, get the fastest lap, take the point away, and then you're tied. It just, I don't know, that could be a way to do it. I'm kind of like you at the end of the day. I do not care. Well, we're gonna look at the playoff grid as we focus in on the guy who finished second at Darlington, and that is Tyler Reddick.
Well, Tony, what angered you at the end of the race? What did you take issue with?
What the hell do you think I was mad about? Dumb little runs us clear down to the infield. He wants to about everybody else, and he's the one that drives like a little. I'm gonna bust his ass.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
And short track racing.
It's time for the sound bites of the week.
Incredible battle to the end there. What was that like from your perspective, and what more did you need through 3 and 4 to make it stick?
Yeah, the balance has just kind of gone away. It was a long run for sure, but all night long our strength was long run, and unfortunately, we just weren't tight enough at the end to really do something with the 19. So, yeah, for me, it just makes me sick. I feel like late in this race, especially this one, Southern 500, I always find myself second or third in the last green flag run, trying to pass leader. And
but how big of a relief is this to start the playoffs on the right foot?
I think Monday morning I'll wake up and be thinking playoffs. Right now I'm just thinking about this race, Darlington. Yes, those things are great for us, but man, I've done everything to win at this place, and it's really starting to drive me nuts.
The run you made into 3 and 4 on the last lap, how confident that was going to stick?
Oh, I had zero faith, and it didn't stick. It didn't stick. Last year in the spring, I gave it my best effort, and it didn't stick, and that time it didn't stick either. It's just, pretty similar story last spring with Buescher and Briscoe. It's just, this time I remembered what happened in the spring, and I was able to get ahead of it just a little sooner and not wipe out Chase. So, yeah. I know he's wiped me out before, but, we need the points, so trying to think about that, I guess.
Where was the 19?
Tyler Reddick close but no cigar and a pretty fun finish in the Southern 500, a race dominated by Chase Briscoe. Caleb, obviously no wins this season for Tyler Reddick, but he goes up to 4th in the playoff points. Ultimately, it doesn't feel like it feels like a win, not if situation for Tyler Reddick at Darlington, whether it's just he's too good and his skill set just fits too well for that track.
Yeah, he just needs one of those kind of perfect scenarios where we've seen Darlington kind of really turn into a big track position race and pit road race, wherever you come off of pit road. And he just needs kind of the luck of the draw, whether it's qualifying or whether his team's able to alternate some strategy and get him that lead to be able to get that track position, because he's been so close and he's always so good on those long runs, but we've been beating the dead horse that this car is just so hard to pass on these narrow tracks. Like Darlington is a fun 1.5 miles, but it's just so narrow that it's really hard to differentiate the lines. And I mean, he made a heck of an effort there on the last lap. He talked a little bit about that coming up so close. I do wish, and I don't know if this is just a Darlington thing or if I feel like it's more of a Tyler Reddick thing. I'd like to see him be able to pull more of a positive mentality from some of these races. Like, it seems almost like, I know we went through with Bubba Wallace a couple years ago where Bubba would go through stretches of not finishing well, and he would have a good finish, and they'd go to talk to him and be like, hey, like, Bubba, you had a great finish. And he would seem just super disappointed that he couldn't do more and that he wasn't able to win the race. And I feel like that mentality's changed for Bubba Wallace with having his son this year. But on Tyler Reddick's side of things, I feel like he's almost kind of taking over that role of he's had a rough couple of weeks leading up to the playoffs. You think back to Richmond and Indianapolis, Daytona, and he had a great run. And I know how badly he wants to win that race, especially Darlington, especially all the times that he's come up close there. But man, there's some of these times he gets out of the car and he just did something really impressive. But if he didn't go and make that move to win the race, then he seems like disappointed or angry with himself or angry with something about how the race played out, or just kind of dejected almost. So I would love to see Tyler get out and be able to celebrate some of that. But at the same time, he is a racer. He wants to win very badly, especially this year, in a year where came off the regular season championship and making the championship 4. I'm sure he had much higher expectations. So on one hand, I understand it, I get it. But on the other hand, man, like, I want to see some more like excitement juice, some adrenaline. Like, man, we almost had that one, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to give Tyler a lot of credit for that. I think he'll, as he mentioned, probably Monday he felt a lot better about his situation, which he's in a good situation. 23-11. I mean, Legacy Motor Club and 23-11 had pretty epic performances this past weekend. Probably a little bit more surprising from Legacy Motor Club, but both of their drivers well in the playoff grid. But looking at it now, Chase, the Hendrick cars disappointed here. You look below the cutoff line. This is we're just going to do a little bit of a playoff talk before we get to the final part of the podcast. Logano -3, Dillon -8. Bowman and Barry really were on the struggle bus. Obviously, Barry wrecking on that first start of the race, and then Bowman -19. If you had to pick someone who's in the most danger right now of getting eliminated, who would you say?
I mean, below the cut line, or are you talking about above the cut line?
You can pick anyone.
I mean, the easy ones, I think, would be
and you can just pick one, like who's the most danger. So you don't have to pick 4.
I'd say Josh Berry. I think Bowman's shown that speed. Although I will say the tracks that we're going to, who knows, that 21 and the kind of Penske power that it's affiliated with, they could have a strong run at Gateway. But just basically from what he's shown throughout the season, he's been way less consistent than Bowman. So I feel like I got to go with Josh Berry.
I disagree. I'm going with Alex Bowman. Hendrick did not look good. I think I would put there should be red alerts at Hendrick Motorsports after that performance at Darlington, because no driver was good there. Obviously, I think both Larson and Byron built enough of a gap, but Chase is at +9. I mean, he was second, third in the regular season championship. So I think red alert going off at HMS right now, and the center of it is obviously Alex Bowman, who could well be eliminated in the first round. All right, Caleb, one final segment. Let's wrap it up.
It's going to be a drag race all the way back to the start-finish line. No caution. They're side by side, right to the line. Big crash. Here they come. Checkered flag.
The checkered flag is out, and it's time for the final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Anything you want to rant, rave, or review about? Caleb Barnes, the checkered flag is out.
You know, I had a few thoughts, Trey. So I saw, I guess, from Adam Stern and seen some other kind of rumors, reports about maybe a potential crossover with NASCAR or IndyCar in Europe with Zandvoort over in the Netherlands. I believe that's where that's at. And I was watching the F1 race there. It's a pretty good race for Formula One standards this weekend, and at least had some action and some fun moments in that race. And like on one hand, that would be a really epic track to see NASCAR race at, especially with the way that, like, not only is it a road course, but there's a lot of banking incorporated into that road course, and just the way that it flows and everything. Like, I think it would be pretty fun to see stock cars racing around that place. But I know those rumors are out there, and the reason I'm bringing that up is not to be like, oh yeah, go ahead and do that. But I actually wanted to say, I think there's so many problems and so many things that just fans are unhappy with and focused on with the current Cup product, with the way everything's laid out, whether you talk about the car, the point system, all sorts of other things that, man, I think as cool as it would be for NASCAR to be in Europe for a Cup Series race, and I know we saw them branch out to Mexico. There's talks about going to Canada and trying to continue to take NASCAR international. Man, I think we just got to pause that for now and focus on getting your ducks in a row, fixing everything, or maybe not everything, but at least finding a more consistent product and maybe, I don't want to say appeasing the fans, but again, there's just all these problems and so many things that people are just really unhappy with right now, whether it's fans, drivers, industry members, this lawsuit going on that we keep talking about. So I think it's more important for NASCAR to stay focused on getting their ducks in a row at this time than being like, oh yeah, let's go to Europe. Meanwhile, people are complaining about road courses, about the road course product, about short tracks and all these sorts of things. It's just not the time to be looking at another expansion to an even further away continent.
Yeah, I just want to give some flowers. It's hard with the playoffs and everything going on that to go back, but we really need to give our flowers to Legacy Motor Club for how good they were at Darlington, which is a hard track. I mean, the fact they had 2 in the top 5, Eric Jones in 3rd, John Hunter Nemechek in 4th, and it wasn't like they just like fluked their way there. They were fast all night. I would say Eric Jones, arguably, if you want to make the conversation the best at Darlington, I think Eric Jones belongs in that conversation. He is one of the best, and that is probably his best track. I think John Hunter got his first top 10 at Darlington, if I'm not mistaken, of his career. But, you know, for a team that is struggling as much as Legacy has, to have this moment, and it shows that they are growing a lot. They're making leaps and bounds, and to show that kind of speed kind of shows the potential that Jimmy Johnson and the team at Legacy Motor Club are aspiring towards. So I give them a lot of credit, and I just want to shout them out and give them some flowers, because that's an incredible performance. I also want to, shout out to AJ Allmendinger as well, getting a top 5 there as well. So shout out to all those guys, and my boy Zane Smith for a nice 13th. So I will say that. Caleb, are you writing the lawsuit stuff this week? Anything else you're doing? Obviously, you're going to host Stock Car Scoop after the race at Gateway. Anything else you're doing this weekend?
Yeah, Stock Car Scoop. We're going to try to write the lawsuit stuff this week and tap in. Steven Stump helped us out last week. After that, he was in court for that crazy stuff. So if you want to go and catch what someone who was actually in person and was able to hear what everybody had to say, Steven did a great job last week recapping all that. And yeah, that's what I've got going on this week.
There you have it. All right. For Caleb Barnes at Caleb Barnes _ for I'm Trey Lyle. Thanks so much to Presley Sorah as well for joining us as well. But you can follow me at Trey Lyle VT. Next up is Through the Gears, previewing the race at Gateway, giving you your best bets. Why Watson will do that as well. So signing off for now. For Caleb, I'm Trey. Adios, everybody.